Live, live, live. Live, live, live. We are live, I think. We are live. Live, live, live. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Yep. Mic levels look good. Check, check, check. Excellent. All right. Doesn't look like anyone's in here just yet, but I will start with the introductions. So, welcome everyone for the monthly Q&A here on my channel. So I had a couple of questions from the community posts. So as always, I will answer those first, and then I will just shoot the breeze with everyone in the chat for the rest of the time. Usually I go for about 2 hours on these live streams, unless there's a time constraint. But we're on time today, so 2 hours it is. Shirt of the day, Demolich. I've probably worn this one on live before, but yes, Demolich shirt is the band shirt of the day. Also, Aposticum beanie, the band I am in, Black and Death Metal, for anyone interested. We do have merch. We're getting more of these hats done. They actually made the person we went to for the embroidering and printing and stuff for the shirts and hats. They accidentally did a smaller size of hat. Fits me fine. I like them. I like beanies a little bit more tight and comfortable. We're getting some bigger ones made though, but we have shirts available too. So if you want, go to the Aposticum Bandcamp page or the Facebook page and inquire about a shirt. We can hook it up. That aside, it is happy hour. So we are having today a Two Brothers Artisan Brewing Prairie Path Golden Ale gluten-free beer because I am gluten-free, not by choice. I've had this before. I wouldn't really call it a golden ale, more of a lager. It's about 5.1% alcohol by volume. Pretty basic beer, but it is happy hour, so cheers. Also, for anyone noticing, the emoji reacts when you're in YouTube Studio, I can customize those, so I have customized them more catered to appropriateness for my channel. So, horns up, cheers. Yeah, it's okay. They didn't have my preferred beer in stock, so unfortunately, I'm going with this. It's all right. Yeah. Basic beer. I like stronger beers, but they didn't have any, so working with that for happy hour. So, okay. I am going to do the community post questions. I'm going to answer those. And then whenever people pop in, say hey in the chat. And then we'll just shoot the breeze. But I will answer the community post questions first. Shirt of the day, once again, Demolich. Great death metal band. Wish they would put out more stuff, but it's probably never going to happen. Alrighty. Community post questions. First one from Fatty Westside. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you leaving a question. His question was, what is your most memorable security gig? Ooh. I mean, overseas contracting, obviously. Most memorable. Was able to do a lot of cool stuff, work with a lot of cool people, do a lot of cool things, and yeah, doing that for years. Executive protection was fairly memorable too. Had a couple of instances that were pretty memorable. Even some of the smaller time, like domestic security stuff. One of my first security gigs getting right out of the military back in the day, I was working for an establishment as their security coordinator and one of the security personnel. Sometimes I would bartend there too, but mostly just did security stuff. It was a high-end martini bar. And I had a dress code and everything, but there was one incident where some guys in thug wear were trying to come in, and they were being stopped by our doorman, our our designated doorman at the door, and dude pulled out a 32 caliber pistol and fired some shots in the air. And myself and the doorman pulled knives and rushed the guy and chased him off. The cops caught him about 15 minutes later. So the whole adage, never bring a knife to a gunfight, it's wrong, patently wrong, especially when you're within that 21-foot kind of thing, and you can get hands on the guy and stick him. That was the one domestic incident, doing that for a smaller time security gig for a short period of time back in the day. But yeah, the most memorable ones would be the overseas contracting. I mean, got to do all kinds of stuff and all that stuff. So it's a good question. Thanks, man. Next question. Oh, well, there was one from GW, George Washington 01, GW. Always appreciate you being around, man. He had asked what the current names for the company, referring to Blackwater, the cartoon graphic for the community post for the Q&A questions in the community tab. It's Academy, and a lot of it got folded into Triple Canopy under Constellus, or Constellus Group. It's the umbrella. There's a number of companies under them. I've worked for several of them. But yeah, so it's both Academy, which is more of the training side now, but they still do some OGA stuff, and then the rest got folded into Triple Canopy, basically. All those assets, and that's all under the Constellus umbrella, which Constellus and Triple Canopy is kind of the flagship company now for Constellus. They use the same logo, different colors now, because it's like blue and silver now. It used to be orange and black when it was just Triple Canopy, but with the conglomeration and everything, same logo, just different colors now. But yeah, so that's what that is. Let's see. Next question from Shadowy Snowman 2141. Thanks for the question. Appreciate it. For private military contracting in the USA and Europe, what kind of guns are used most often in that environment? Is it open to non-Americans or no? So for contracting CONUS within the continental United States, here in the US, you're going to be using Glock pistols, Smith & Wesson M&P pistols, like that kind of stuff. Your standard M4 pattern long guns. Remington 870 shotguns are the most popular shotgun. Sometimes you'll see Mossberg 500s floating around, or even Benelli M4s, but domestically it's a lot of 870 for shotgun stuff. But yeah, AR pattern rifles here domestically, M4 type rifles and stuff like that, and then those types of pistols. It depends on the company and what you're doing, but specifically for federal and military contracting, domestically, that's the stuff that you're going to be using. Other security companies on other types of contracts, whether it's armored car courier services or whatever else, whole gamut of different tools that they permit in a list of approved firearms and stuff. Some of those companies issue it out, and some of them, if they're not that well organized and don't have the logistics and everything else, they'll provide a partial stipend for you to provide your own firearm. They'll certify that firearm to allow you to use and things like that. And same with ammunition. They'll either stipend you to get ammunition, or they'll issue it out. If they're more put together, the federal contract side and all that, they issue everything out. You don't have to worry about any of that. Same with equipment. They issue everything out. So on that scale, domestically, that's the kind of stuff we use. In Europe, I mean, it depends on where you are. Depends on what the security company has for a provisions and acquisitions contract for equipment, and what they're allowed to have and not have and things like that. On the government side of contracts, say your U.S. security contracting personnel operating within Europe, it's whatever's going to be available and what's approved for use in that country. If you're in Germany, it could be G36, I mean, Glock pistols and things like that. It could be a number of things. If you're in former Eastern Bloc countries, it could be a Polish barrel or AK pattern rifle. It just depends. A lot of that is variable to what's permitted, what's provided, other approvals, acquisitions, things like that. Overseas contracting, so think high risk areas, Middle East, and other places. I mean, a whole gamut. I used and our team and our company provided a mix of things. Your standard U.S. type pattern weapon systems, M4s, SAWs, 240 Bravos, Mark 19s, M250 cals, all that, Glock pistols. Back in the day, we ran Berettas too for a time. the M9 and 92FS, but also AK pattern stuff. So PKMs, AKs, that kind of stuff too. It depends on where you are. In Africa, contractors in Africa, I mean, it could be AK pattern stuff. It could be an FAL. It could be a G3, whatever's available, and whatever is provisional from the company and or the government for you guys to use. So it just depends. But hopefully that kind of gives you that information there. Insofar as expats, like foreigners working for security companies, in the U.S., you have to have citizenship because you have to be able to be certified and approved to use firearms, whether that's a federal contract or otherwise. So whatever citizenship status that you have, certain approved work visas, they're very exigent with work visas for that kind of thing. But with the background and stuff and the sponsorship from a company and the government and stuff, you can do it. Very limited though. Overseas wise, especially in conflict, again, high risk zones and conflict zones and stuff, yes, you can be an expat and be employed to a number of different American, British, or whatever companies. You talk to a recruiter, provide all your information, all of your your credentials, your whole, what we call an I Love Me book, all your paperwork, your CV, your resume and everything. And they go through the vetting process to verify whether you're hireable or not. So that really depends. If you've got background and you've got experience, you don't have a lot of shady things or whatever that the not only the security company but the government's going to find with their vetting process, then you'd be good to go. I know a number of American and British companies that hired former Romanian dudes and whoever else, all over Europe and stuff. With Europe, a lot of the European security companies, I mean, it's a pool of personnel that they can pull from in Europe. In the US, it's a little bit different, but overseas, like in Iraq and stuff, we hire indigenous personnel too, apart from other expats that have the qualifications and abilities that we're looking for, the skills and stuff that the company's looking for to hire. So yeah, there is that opportunity there. So a little bit of that. But hopefully that answers that question, that series of questions for you. Kind of went into the weeds a little bit, but it's necessary context. Hopefully that helped. So thank you for the question. That was great. That was a good question. So, and that's the last question I have out of the community posts. I had seen one other post, but it's disappeared for some reason. Again, kind of pertaining to the comic graphic meme or whatever that I put up for the community post for the questions, because it's it's November, so Thanksgiving period. So I put up a comic. It's two turkeys, and they're saying we should have hired Blackwater security a long time ago, and Blackwater guys are like surrounding the turkeys, protecting them. There's a bunch of pilgrims running away. It's rather humorous. There was one comment, and again, it disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, but it was some dude that needs to get his head out of his sphincter because he was saying something about like, oh, because you're willing to fire on Americans. Like, no, you're an idiot. Contractors are some of the most patriotic people you're ever going to fucking meet, even more than some of the people in the military right now. Okay. That's stupid as well, because this is a job. It's not like a life binding contract, like being in the military. You can say no to things and you can leave whenever you like. But also just out of principle, that's not what people do. That's not how people act. That's, not a thing. So that guy, whoever had made that comment and it disappeared, you're an ignorant piece of shit. Get your head out of your ass. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on, that was all the community post questions. So thank you again for everyone that left a comment question there. Now I'll just interact with everyone in the chat here. Say hey in the chat. I see a couple of people are in here. Go ahead and say hey in the chat. Ask a question, whatever. Per the pinned comment, slow mode is on. Just helps me keep track of the chat and be able to talk with everyone and answer questions. Also to keep spamming bots away, because those can be an issue in some lives. But yeah, fire away. Say hey and fire away. I am here to shoot the breeze with people now. So go ahead and say hey. Shirt of the day again, Demolich, good death metal band. They haven't put out an album in a long time, but great band though. And I'm wearing my band, Aposticum, one of my bands, wearing a beanie. We have embroidered. We're getting more embroidered beanies. These are the smaller size ones. We're getting some larger size ones soon. But we have shirts and stuff too. So if you want some merch, go to Bandcamp, to the Aposticum page. And check out the merch tab because there's shirts listed there, or you can contact us through the Facebook page, which usually Jake, the front man, handles. But he'll, if you want to buy a shirt and rep us, by all means, they're only $15. So yeah, that's about it. So fire away in the chat. Say hey. I know there's a couple of people lurking here watching, so go ahead and say hey. I'm here to converse with people and answer questions that you have and stuff. I already answered all the community post questions, so fire away in the chat by all means. Bueller. Also, beer of the day is Two Brothers Prairie Path Golden Ale. Not much of an ale, more of a lager. It's okay. It's not my preferred kind of thing. It's not strong. It's not strong, and yeah, it's not really even an ale. It's more of a lager. Eh. So I will say to Two Brothers Artisan Brewing, step up your game because this is not quite meeting the bar for what I'm expecting. It's got okay flavor, but it's whatever. Light Fighters Anonymous, Burther. Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Glad you could make it. You got any topics you want me to discuss? Any questions that you have? Fire away in the doobly doo in the chat. I am more than happy to answer it. It was just organizing your garage. Ooh, nice. It's always a good time. Trying to make a new streaming space if you can get internet right. Yeah, you're kind of out in the boonies. Yep. And getting gear put away accessible. Attaboy. Yep, I got my ruck packed and ready to go. Always right back there. I'm running the Tasmanian Tiger Long Range Raid Pack Mark III. So it's internal frame, kind of your skinnier and taller, kind of more like Jaeger or long Bergen style ruck. I prefer those more. Super comfortable. Most comfortable ruck I've ever used. It's like wearing a cloud. Even when it's loaded with 85, 100 pounds of stuff, like it's comfy, really comfy. But yeah, internet stuff. I mean, yeah, especially when you're out in the boonies. I mean, a lot of telecom companies are working with the states now, and they're getting subsidies and stuff. I mean, they'll run fiber optic internet out to your boony townships and homes out in those areas. So if you're not using was it Starlink or Skynet or whatever. Autistic about keeping it packed. No, I get it. I keep my stuff packed too. But the only things I don't keep packed is obviously like water. Like I'm not gonna leave water sitting in my canteens for months at a time because it's gonna go bad. It's gonna get stagnant and gross. So I always circulate that out, cycle it out, and just have my canteens ready. Takes 2 minutes to fill them up and get out the door or whatever. You know. Yeah, you don't want to let it set for too long, yeah, because it'll just go bad. So it's not really a point for me just leaving canteens filled up because it's so quick and easy to fill them with water that I have or whatever. Need to get Starlink. You think it's worth it? I mean, Randall uses it. Grunt Proof. Randall he uses it out in his mountain hideaway out there in the Sierras. And it works well enough for him. He likes it, so I think it's worth the investment. It's a pretty good price, so why not? Lima Foxtrot gives you hell shit. Hey, Bleachy lets you know you're safest. Yeah, exactly. You get that chlorine or bleachy kind of smell and stuff. Yeah, yeah. You know they're clean then. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and I've got a Sawyer. I've got in my ruck. I keep a Sawyer in there. Um, and then tabs, purification tabs as well. I was redundancies, right? You know, always two is one, one is none, kind of thing. Tabs that won't kill everything. I mean, they're gonna take care of most stuff domestically here that you have to worry about. You know, um, the other thing too, especially if you're going to be making a well-established homestead or PB or whatever, like get a big cooking pot and you can just boil a bunch of water constantly. You know, you always have somebody tending to that. You know, same with like cooking and stuff. Especially because like it's getting into the cold season now and everything. Somebody's always got to be making sure that there's water heated up and everything. So I mean, it's you got boiling, you got filters, you got tabs, you got any number of things that don't cost anything to fucking, you know. So good to go. You also don't do too many tabs. Yeah, yeah, too many tabs, you can get sick too. Yeah, you only need one per freaking canteen. You know, 2 million gallons in your pond, dude. That's awesome. I would bet you probably got a natural spring or two around you there too, because you're kind of out in the Ozark area, and they're all over the place. So map those out, mark them on your maps. You know, have a huge elaborate water system sitting around since I used to do detail cleaning. Yeah, awesome. You know, water catchment, all that, like solid. You're good to go. You know, hook it up again. Yep, huge. You do have a spring. Oh no, I mean, again, same area. We have a bunch of natural springs around here too, and a lot of good fresh water. You know, I'm far enough north. We don't have the pollution that a lot of other people have to deal with. You know, a lot of really good fresh water around here. It doesn't matter if it's a pathetic natural spring or not, as long as you have a natural water source. And I mean, you can dig down a little bit and open it up a little bit. You're going to get more out of it. But either way, you've got something apart from the other things that you already have. Well, there were a couple more people that popped in and then they left. What the hell? No, I'm kidding. I don't care. I think I've maxed out like 12 viewers in here at most at any given time. So it's whatever. I'm not a big channel and I don't care. You know, I do these because the subscribers, the community that are here are awesome and they always ask great questions and I'm more than happy to answer them and talk with people. So what am I up to? Just doing my monthly Q&A. I do one Q&A live stream a month. I've been doing it for this is the second year running. Um, so yeah, just answer people's questions. You know, between the community post, which I answered all those, and then just chat, talking topics, and answering questions with people and whatever, just about anything really. So, 4 people telling me camera was broken. Oh yeah, you gotta check your camera settings sometimes. I mean, I'm just using an onboard camera on one of my computers right now, so it's whatever. I should probably get a higher quality one, but I don't care. It's 720p, good enough. Until this thing craps out, I'll use it. Yeah, Josh Wiretag, he does have a good model for stuff. Yeah, definitely. Hey, some more people jumped in. Welcome. Say hey in the chat. Ask a question. Bring up a topic of discussion. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Audio is more important. Yeah, I'm using a Blue Snowball microphone right here. So good quality microphone really helps. Anyone new coming in, say hey in the chat. Ask a question. Topic of discussion. Audio is good. Welcome anyone new coming in. It is happy hour. Cheers. Oh, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm not on really any social media. I mean, I've got my YouTube channel. I'm on Discord, obviously, and then I have LinkedIn for my professional, for work stuff professionally. For the security industry and all that. And, I'm a published author and stuff too. So, I use it for that. That's all I have. I'm not on any other social media whatsoever. So, and I'm glad. Might need some more help in a few days with logos and such. Hell yeah, dude. Let me know. More than happy to do that. I've been trying to get some more graphic design commissions and contracts and stuff. So, because right now is the slow season for the security work that I do, because I'm a senior advisor. I do consulting and things like that. And then with year end and fiscal quarter roundups and things like that, like a lot of clients aren't doing anything. Plus, companies that I work for, they don't, because I do a lot of on-site assessment stuff, things like that. Like, they don't want us walking around in the winter. Like, I don't care. I was I was born in the cold, I was literally born in the middle of a blizzard back in the 80s. So, it's in my blood to like, this is my favorite time of year. So, it doesn't bother me, but it's slow for that. So, in the meantime, I can focus on music stuff, but also a lot of the graphic design stuff that I do. So, that's what fills that need, and affords me more time to do that kind of stuff right now. So, Rebel Spirit, thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yeah. Life Fighters, how long have I been an artist? I mean, really all my life, but when it comes to graphic design and stuff like that, I've been doing it in a professional capacity since about 2011. Yeah, 2011, 2012. So I've been doing it for a while, about 12 years. And then, but like, I paint and stuff too. I do, like with band logos and stuff, I do them traditionally by hand, and then I scan and digitally edit them and everything, which a lot of people do it just digitally now. But I prefer to do the traditional route, and then over to uh, over to the digital medium for finishing stuff, and then general graphic design stuff otherwise and all that. But yeah, about 12 years. Um, Yep, yep. I'm also a published author. I've got two books. They're security industry related books. They're retailed on Amazon and all that. Um, one of them's called "How to Protect Your Assets," and it's basically an introduction to physical security for people just getting into the industry, for an education basis, for small business owners, that kind of thing. Just an overview so people understand what it is and why they need it. The other one is just a template book for incident report writing for security professionals. We have a third book. An associate and I, a buddy of mine who's a security professional and search and rescue professional in the Netherlands in Europe, he and I are writing a third book together, which is basically a standardization template framework kind of book with a step-by-step guide for a number of different things for security industry operations, for line unit personnel, shift leaders, things like that. That'll be getting published whenever we get the graphics done. We have a friend in South Africa doing some of the graphics for us for that, because he's also doing another version of the book as a pocket guide. And yeah, but then music on top of that. Yeah, I play in like 11, 12 active bands right now, and all that stuff. So, yep, I keep busy. You hate this cold shit. You used to hate sweating. It's always easier to warm up than it is to cool down. I love the cold. I rock every morning, and oh yeah, get you going though. Rebel Spirit, still working on your LinkedIn, still trying to figure out a way to break into security advisement field. You got to just put your, well constructed resume, get it on there, all your information, and you can get some opportunities coming your way. You start connecting and networking with people and stuff, and recruiters can approach you and whatever else. Um, it's a crawl, walk, run kind of thing. To work your way up. Partly who but also just grind out, and you gotta have a good resume. It is a competitive sector. That. But yeah, just keep at it, man. Light fighters do a little metal art. Ooh, metalworking, sweet. Make flowers, faces, bugs. No, that's cool. I like blacksmithing stuff too. I've made a knife before at my buddy's forge, and yeah, it was really cool. I appreciate that kind of stuff. That's really cool. Freezing in KC, no joke. Yeah, it's about 40 degrees and kind of rainy, wet, foggy out here. I think we're supposed to get some snow here in about a week or so, possibly. Did some trade shows. Realize you hate talking to those people. It really depends. There's a lot of nerds in the industry. It's kind of broken down into two sides within the sector for those kinds of people, especially in the consulting and in that side. It's you've got people that come from the experience based side of protective services and military background and all that, and then you've got the other side who go through like the ACES route and are just academics, which I can appreciate the academic side of it, but at the same time, like a lot of stuff gets overlooked because they don't think like a protector per se. They don't have some of the inclination and understanding about uh, just physical security nuances that get overlooked a lot, and that's why I like coming from the side that I do. Um, yeah, it's good stuff. You totally see him at a hippie fest handing out metal flowers. Hey, one of the biggest hippie festivals in the United States is right there in the Kansas City area. It's called, I believe it's called Gaia. Yeah. So it's not far out of the question to see him there retailing some of his wares because there's a lot of people that sell stuff there. Life Fighters Anonymous. She could play an instrument. Took up drum lessons as a kid. Can keep a bad rock beat. Hey, dude, 10,000 hour rule, right? You should get back into it, man. You should get back into it. Randall Gruntproof, he's a great drummer too. Get back into it. Pick up an instrument, man. It's a great hobby to have outside of a lot of the general stuff. It uses a different part of your brain, exercises a different part of your brain, helps you be creative and stuff. Apart from the physical art making and things like that. Badass metal rose. That's sick, dude. No blacksmith is legit metal work. I mean, hey, it's all metal work. I just I use that in a general. I use that term blacksmith in a generalized sense. That's cool though. Anything new to report on the camo? Still working on trademark stuff. It was costing a little bit more than I expected, so I'm just working up, saving the rest of the money that I need to finish filing it, and then yeah, then once that's in that process and that's all good to go, I can start doing licensing contracts with the textile fabric mills and stuff, and then with uniform and gear companies. So, and I've got some good connections already that are going to help facilitate some of that stuff with some pretty big companies and distributors. So things are looking good there. It's just I'm just trying to finish the process that I need to do with the formal crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and then yeah, I'm hoping by next month I can finish that. Make junk with the welder, but it's fun often, dude. Yeah, honestly, welding wise, I'm still my best form of welding is oxyacetylene welding. I'm not nearly as good with TIG or stick or wire welding. Oxyacetylene torch welding, I'm actually really good at. So yeah, it's not done nearly as much anymore compared to the others. But I enjoyed OA torch welding. Yeah, so yeah, Light Fighters. Yeah, I've got a line of camouflages. I've got the branding, logo, obviously, and everything. Like I've got it all done and ready. It's just I got to do the formal process things right so that I'm doing everything right and can work with major mills, printers, distributors, all that stuff. So just a process. Should drop a video of the Gaia Fest. Yeah, that'd be funny. Not anything that's like OPSEC or things that would spill the beans. What testing have you done and what's that like? So I did same format of the way that I designed my camouflages. I made a custom pattern for Bug Out Bushido. He's a veteran and former PMC like myself. He lives in Florida, so I made him a camouflage specific to his requirements. for the Florida environment, and he's done some testing and stuff, and it works perfectly. It is one of the best patterns that I've seen. Excellent outcome. One of the best patterns I've seen for that region. So the patterns that I have designed, again, the same style and stuff for different regions, different types of woodland environments, different regions of the country, different seasons, things like that. I've also got a snow pattern and things like that. So, but yeah, just with that initial testing with the one that I did for him custom, again, same style as the way that I'm doing mine. His I did a blurred edge thing on as well, which I don't do with mine, but that's what he wanted, and it's straight up invisible, man. It doesn't matter if you're freaking 10 feet away from a dude or way out in the woods. Like it was amazing how well it was working. So I'm very happy about that. So testing's been good. Once I finish this formal trademark process and everything, I will be ordering more test prints of the different patterns that I do, and I'll be doing more testing, and that'll be some of the marketing material that I'll be doing as well. But just to kind of showcase, like, hey, this is what I've got, you know. Red Dawn Readiness, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Fire away with any questions, topics of discussion. Yeah. Light Fighters, as far as material for the camouflage, I mean, it's going to be your standard nylon materials and then uniform materials. So your ripstop materials and then your 500 and 1000 denier nylons for soft goods and things like that. Like that's the market that I'm gearing that towards. Also, some of the laminate materials out there too can also work with those as well. So it just depends on the mill and whatever. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be all over. Chad's gone downhill. How does one get intellectual property on a pattern? So intellectual property law works in the moment that a unique pattern is created by you. It is protected under, in the US, it's protected under intellectual property law. You then have a certain time frame that they recommend, that the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, recommends that you start the filing process, submission process. Now, you technically do not have to do a patent on it unless it is a specific technique to create the camouflage that is proprietary. I mean, the Navy has and the Marine Corps hold the patents on MARPAT and AOR, which is an older form of digital camouflage pattern generation. I'm not doing a digi pattern. I'm doing something different. But you don't have to do the patenting. You should, and you need to. It's a should suggestion, but you need to, in order to work with any printers, distributors, and all that legitimately and all that, you need to trademark the brand, trademark the patterns, and all that stuff. So you just go through that submission process with the USPTO. And then after that, you're off to the races. You know, whatever you can do and whatever you have for marketing, network facilitation, for printing, manufacturing, distribution, all that stuff, you know, world's your oyster then. But you have to do it legitimately. So it can be a pain. I mean, it's a process. In dealing with anything the government, it does not happen overnight. So once the final submission for trademark and everything is finished, it can take between 8 and 10 months for it to get to the point. Like, once you have it submitted, you can start using the TM trademark marking for your branding and everything. Once it's gone through that process and they don't see any issues and you're approved and it's all good to go, you can use the R, the restricted or regulated whatever indicator, little emblem indicator for your trademark. Okay. So that's how that kind of works. As long as it's in use with your trademark, as long as it's in use right before and during your filing process for trademark, you can use it with the TM trademark market branding. Okay. So that's how that kind of works. Over passion on a camo guy, I made it works when you follow every other principle of camouflage. Yeah, no, and that's, I'm super stoked about these patterns. And people are really gonna like them. It's gonna be cool. I said that wrong. I feel like bigger principles like movement, weight more. Yeah, I mean, movement's always going to be an issue with camouflage. Um, 'cause it doesn't matter how good your camouflage is. You move, the odds are you're going to be seen. If you move slowly, that helps, but sometimes you have to move quickly. It doesn't matter. You're moving quickly, you're going to get seen because of motion. You know, um, it's not like anybody's using an active invisibility camo. It's not no such thing. Joe Morgan, hey dude, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Real Spirits, so do you have like a spreadsheet of what colors work best in each state or something, or do you have to get eyes on the environment first, then make the camo? I mean, you can do quite a bit. Obviously, I've got people in different regions of the country and stuff that I talk with. They send me pictures. I look at stock pictures, all that. I understand what the color palette, the base colors, and like all that, just camouflage and color theory fundamentals, going with that, and then understanding like, hey, augment the hue and the shade of the colors and stuff, because a lot of your universal and standardized military camouflage patterns, M81 woodland, fed camo, multi camo, OCP, whatever, and otherwise, like a lot of them aren't using the best true to the environment colors for all parts of the country. Universal camouflage is a oxymoron. It's a misnomer. So what I do is I look at the different regions, look at the seasons and things like that, and be like, okay, these colors are going to work better in these areas. Darker forests, you're not going to want to use a bunch of bright colors. Like even here, multicam is way too bright. And I've done a video rattle canning darker green on what stuff I do have that is OCP multicam because it's way too bright. It stands out. So you need to go with darker greens. You need to go with darker grays, darker browns, and then like a plains area, you're not going to want to go with darker browns per se. You can do a little bit of like splotching in there, but you're going to want to go more with like your straw colors, and some grays and maybe a little bit of green in there just based on what the scrub and everything is. It's the same for plains areas, and then your scrub areas like in parts of Texas and stuff are actually very similar. So I have a camouflage design for that kind of regional application as much as different kinds of woodlands, because a cypress swamp woodland is not the same as Pacific Northwest woodland, right? So that's what I'm doing there with different color augmentation, how the pattern is overlaid and kind of complementing and contrasting itself and stuff. Because some places you need more contrast, and some places you just need more diffusion. So it's just like things like that. Joe Morgan just got home from another mind-numbingly boring day of substance abuse classes. Hey, man, I'm glad you're moving forward, though, man. Joe, I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, and all that. Just I know it's a grind, but keep pushing, man. Keep pushing, man. I'm proud of you. Light fighters, how many variants do I have? So including Bug Out Bushido's Florida kind of intermediate far north subtropical kind of regional application pattern, 9 in total right now that I have done and ready to go. Again, several woodland patterns. I have the scrub plains kind of pattern. I have a high super rocky pattern that can also be used for urban environment to an extent. And then that kind of subtropical pattern. I have a straight up desert pattern. Apart from that arid scrub, I have a desert pattern, and then I have a snow pattern, snow camouflage. So yeah, about 9 in total right now. And obviously, like when it comes to like custom work, because that's going to be part of the brand too. I will gladly contract with companies and individuals to make custom camouflages for them, based on what they want. I've toyed around with some remixes and augmentations of established camouflage patterns before. Obviously, can't do really anything with them because of whether it's patent or trademark or whatever. Or whoever holds the rights to it. I'm not going to mess with all that, but I've played with those before too, but I mean, custom camouflages and stuff, like, yeah, I can do that kind of stuff for people. Much like for Bug Out Bushido and stuff. I'll make custom patterns for people if they want them when the time is right. It's not going to be cheap, but in the long run, if that's something that's going to be proprietary and then you can make a business out of it, then off to the races. Yeah, dude, it is sick. I'm really happy about it. So, Light Fighter, gotta go finish dinner. All right, dude, grub down. I'll be eating dinner here in a little bit. I usually go for about 2 hours. I'm already 45 minutes in. So about another hour 15, and then I'm gonna go make supper as well. Um, Rebel Spirit, have you worked on anything purely for urban environments? Curious to see your take on it. I mean, so the one I have for like high rocky, like super rocky areas and stuff, I mean, that can be used in tandem for urban environment. Um, I've thought about making a specific urban type camouflage more so, and I may make a variant of that in the future, but the the brand Phantom Leaf, they have a concrete urban type variant camouflage. It's actually really good. And I do recommend that one. That's a really good camouflage pattern. I forget what it is exactly because they use a weird subcoating system for their what type of camouflage it is. What type of camouflage it is? Excuse me. Um, so I can't quite remember what it is offhand, but they have one specifically for like concrete areas and urban environments. More so in maybe something that's got some derelict and high rubble content going on, but it's really effective camouflage though. So I was very impressed by it. Practical Rifleman, what's up, bro? Can't remember if I say hey or not. So thanks for tuning in. Yeah, yeah, the Portland Gilly Light Fighters. Yeah, yeah, just a pile of trash. It was actually very creative, and believe it or not, it fucking works. For that kind of application, yeah, it is. Yeah, just trash bags and old shit stain. Yeah, whatever. Cut open a couple of cans, and then like fit them over your barrel and stuff, and just make it look like a pile of trash. Like it's crazy how effective it is, especially in areas with a lot of garbage on the ground. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. No, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. It's funny, yeah. Um, but yeah, as far as urban camo, otherwise, like, yeah, it would be. I mean, I could design it a couple of different ways. Um, depends on the area though, because I mean, uh, a lot a lot of urban environments in the U.S. are very clean compared to other urban environments around the world, right? The buildings are different. Place like Baghdad, it's all concrete. It's all mud concrete. A lot of concrete. Uh, say say Manila, the Philippines, you're gonna have a mix of some industrial buildings, some high rise, especially in the heart of Manila, but otherwise it's a lot of bamboo and wood houses and stuff, right? And then again, more contrast depending on where you are. It depends on where you are, even in Africa. Because one African city, say uh, say Pretoria, is not going to be the same as Mombasa, right? It's going to be they're very different structures in those places. So it just depends on where you are and all that. So designing urban camouflage it can be difficult, and sometimes it's honestly just better if it depends on where you are again, but sometimes it's just better to just blend into the population with normal streetwear. You know, sometimes that's the best urban camouflage. In an area, say a fully active conflict war zone, like Iraq back in the day or whatever. Yeah, again, using something like that Phantom Leaf urban camo, that's where it's advantageous because it's going to blend into all the rubble around. Same with cities, ruined cities in Ukraine right now. Same kind of deal. It would work really well there. But other than that, I mean, streetwear. You know, Practical Rifleman lurking, trying to shop for deer season snacks. Biltong, bro, get some biltong. Come on, especially if you can find like I think it's they used to make it. I don't know if they make it anymore. Kalahari brand spicy peri peri biltong. delicious. I don't know if they make it anymore. I was looking around to try and find some, and a place where I used to buy it doesn't have it anymore. So, but it was really good. For those that don't know, biltong is a type of jerky. It's a South African style. It's an air dried jerky, in contrast to what a lot of people do here with dehydrators and smokers and stuff. So it's got a little bit more moisture to it. It's really tender though, and like just biltong is super good. I love biltong. Yep, biltong trail mix. Some like I don't know, get some like gummy worms or something. I don't know. You world's your oyster with snacks for hunting season, man. You know, pre-smoke some ring bologna and take it out with you or something. I don't know. You got options, bro. Rebel Spirit, any color recommendations for Kansas Missouri border? So again, fundamentals are your browns and tans. So that area you're going to want to go more brown. Um, somewhere close to coyote brown or slightly darker. Again, the Rust-Oleum outdoor camouflage spray paints, their brown is a good brown for that area. Um, usually you want to go with a light base color first. So whether you go with a gray or a tan, and then you darken over the top, because once you generally once you go darker, you can't go lighter with the coloring format. Obviously, you can with spray paint, but go with a lighter foundation first, and then go dark on top of it. Okay, that's gonna help with the breakup. It's gonna help with your light and shadow effect and everything like that. Oh, outside sugar. But I would start with like your straw, your tan, and then go with darker brown and a little bit of green on the top of it. I usually do 3-color with rattle can, um, and it works fine. You know, you just need something to help break up that profile. And I tout the like Gear Aid camoform, the self adhering camoform wrap too. That stuff is awesome too. So like certain parts, that you don't want to paint or whatever it is, like you just wrap some of that on there, and then it's good to go. It's got really good tactile feel and grip to it too. I like that stuff. I usually put it like right on the end of the stock, closest to the end plate, on the buffer tube and stuff. It helps with rattle, but it just kind of helps keep it in place too. I'll paint the whole thing anyway, but then I'll do some of that wrap. It just helps with rattle. Same with like hooks and rings for sling mounts and stuff. Don't use QDs ever. QDs suck. But like with the hooks and the rings and stuff, I'll usually wrap some of that camoform wrap around those points too, where they're connecting and stuff, to help keep shine and rattle down. Hey, I've got an aunt who lives in St. Louis, and I've been down to the One Shepherd area before for winter forage and stuff. Like I know what it's like. It's the Midwest. It's just farther south than where I am. You know, um, straws, tans, browns. And then a little bit of an intermediate to dark green just over the top. And the grays too. I wouldn't go with too light of a gray. I would go, like, if you think like tan or straw, I would go with a gray just slightly darker than that, because you guys do have rocky areas or rocky features, whether it's around KC or in the Ozarks or whatever. Um, and then also even a little bit of like a lichen or loam green color. Again, that lighter color in the Rust-Oleum camouflage outdoor paint line is fairly similar to lichen color of green that grows on some of the rocks in the Ozark area and stuff too. It's actually pretty good to just splotch on there, a little bit. Little bit goes a long way, right? Sugar is a good song. Cooking in the kitchen. This guy screams in my office. I'm not screaming. Not yet. Joe, Tinkerbell's use man panties on the floor by the washing machine. Oh, jeez. Just throw them away, bro. Or I'm screaming in your bedroom or your basement. I mean, is it? Honestly, I mean, legit new can of good paint. I feel like the rail cans available aren't perfect. I mean, again, it depends on where you are. You know, um, it just depends on where you are. There are some good brands out there. There's different brands. I wish Airvo didn't go out of business because they have stopped making their line of camouflage paints. And the military, we use them quite a bit in the military actually, but the Airvo brand ones were pretty good too. So if you can find cans of those around, what may be left on the shelves because it was fairly recently they stopped making their camouflage spray paints. Grab those too because it's a slightly different hue of colors than the Rust-Oleum ones. You could try the Brownell spray paint too. I haven't tried the Brownell's paint, so I don't know. The Rust-Oleum works fine here. Again, we have a lot darker woods and stuff here, so the palette that those colors are is fine here. No complaints. Should get with Sherwin-Williams to contract some rattle cans. Hey, I've got some hex codes of proper colors. I think they might wouldn't mind. Your ship container. Don't know how loud it is. Oh yeah, that's right. That's sick, dude. Radical Rifleman, meat sticks and jerky. Throw in trail mix, dude. Some jalapeno cheddar beef sticks. Oh, can't go wrong, man. Love me some jalapeno cheddar beef sticks or some ghost pepper beef sticks. We have a really good local brand here called Clements. And they make really good spicy beef sticks too. Freaking, oh, they're so good. Bro, you screaming at your wire type podcast. Dude, it was great. That was hilarious, dude. We need to do more of those. Drink the 101. Hell yeah. It was a good time. It was a good time. New topic if you need it because I have a question. And I want to quit talking to Camo. It talks on Field Ear Pro. What do you do? How do you balance comms? Use comms as little as possible. And I don't use Ear Pro in the field really. I mean, obviously, training at the shooting range and all that. Yeah, use Ear Pro. When you're out on a reconnaissance patrol in a small unit team, you want all of your sense capability. I don't care how good people say that modern Peltors are or whatever. It doesn't matter. You need all your senses. Once things kick off, they kick off. It's whatever. At this point, your hearing is the least of your problems. Whatever. I've got some of the in-ear plugs too, and I've got my walkers for at the range and stuff, but I don't use them. If I'm out patrolling stuff, I'm not using them. You need to have full sensory capability for sills and everything else. Yeah, walkers on the helmet. I mean, I like walkers. They're good for the range and everything. No complaints there. Walkers are fine. Rubber ear jimmies, yeah. But no, on a proper recon, no, you're not wearing an ear pro. Yeah, it is loud when you start shooting, but it is what it is. I've been around a lot of machine guns going off at once. With either no ear pro or the blue in-ear ones that we got in the military. Not the like defective 3M ones, but like similar. Didn't matter. It's so loud. It's so loud when everything pops off anyway. No matter what ear pro you have, it does not matter. You're going to be yelling and doing hand signals at each other. Double up with MG. What? Love your pro, Rebel Spirit. Love your pro. You're better than normal. That's what people say, but honestly, no, you don't. It does filter out some things. No. Something I found as you hear those clicker towards a decent amount of distance away with your pro. Yeah, we do bird calls instead, or just one way that we can communicate without being completely verbal, vocal, or whatever. Bird calls. So Learn your bird calls. Yeah, can I hear you? What? I get it for real. Both plugs it covers more than either. And yeah, exactly. You need all your senses. Okay, you're ruined for life. I mean, if that means you're going to survive, I mean, same with the military. I mean, tinnitus. Hello, tinnitus, my old friend. Just is what it is. The ringing in the ears, at least for me, and it's different for everyone, but for me, it goes away fairly quick. It's not bad. Practical Rifleman still got Airvo? Hell yeah, dude. That's some good paint, dude. Hold on to it. Cherish it. Cherish it. It's a good paint. Dude, gunfights are extremely loud. People don't realize it. They're extremely loud. Even with just a couple of guns is a small unit thing. It's loud. And you got incoming and everything else, like it's loud. It just is. There's no point in being quiet at that point. You want to try and avoid contact. You want to be quiet as much as possible. And again, having all your sensory abilities. But if something were to happen, it is what it is. You're not stopping that cacophony. Reynolds paints made for durability, but they have some sheen on them, so you don't shake if you don't shake the shit out of it. Oh, good to know. So much bullshit won't work when it's while exploding. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. Because while fuck yours up. That being said, your right ear has lost 50% of its sound. I mean, it is what it is, man. If you're just on the flat range or doing instruction, you better have your pro on. But like in the real world, when the metal meets the meat and you're actually doing the things, we're not wearing freaking ear pro. Flares, big signal panels, you got hand signals. You're gonna be yelling at each other. What do you do to get by? If I know I'm gonna pop off, I'll try and put something on. I mean, yeah, if I mean, the inners honestly are what I would prefer if I were to do that, but honestly, it doesn't matter, and it's just preference to me. But I mean, a lot of other guys who know, yeah, doesn't matter. Use a nice oxygen day. If you get set up and ready with them, and help you stay in a fight. Again, there's a lot of mitigating environmental conditions that people have and done it don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. A lot of that stuff doesn't end up mattering. iPro, yeah, obviously, have your eyes, but again, if you're doing, and this is going to be a big thing for Minutemen, is reconnaissance work. You're not everybody's got these grand perceptions of, oh, it's going to be direct contact all the time. But no, you're going to be evading and doing a lot of reconnaissance work. You're not going to be doing a lot of shooting. Obviously, have a lot of ammo with you, but in the event of an RTC, a reactive contact. But a lot of the time, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be in a reconnaissance application. You want to be moving quickly. When you need to. You need to be unseen, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. You need to do that kind of thing. Honestly, if you can get those ear pro on your helmet, they just pop out a little and you can listen normally and then slap them down once you have a chance to fire. No, I hate those. I hate those. High cut helmets are stupid. You want a high cut helmet? I mean, you might as well not wear a helmet because you're just leaving that all open and just getting shot in the side of the freaking head. I wear a Pasget. I've got as much coverage as possible on my head. You're gonna wear a brain bucket. You better have full coverage. Even the ACHs, like, and I wore those in the Army. Like I don't mind those. They've got pretty decent coverage, but I want as much coverage as possible. If I'm gonna be wearing a helmet, when you're doing reconnaissance and stuff, you're not gonna be wearing a helmet. You're not gonna be wearing body armor. And again, that's a lot of what Minutemen stuff is gonna end up being. Apart from static guarding and your property patrolling and stuff. you're not going to be wearing some of that equipment unless you know that you're going into contact, which you better be on your fucking shit if you are. And have the proper planning in place and everything else that goes along with mission planning for that kind of thing, you know. Or, you know, if you're not if you're gonna sacrifice protection for comfort, you've already put yourself in a disadvantage. It's one of those bingo conversations because it falls in between what people practice versus what people really do. Exactly. You do have to hear to stay alive, but it's better to hear to stay alive if you're not getting into contact. If you're getting into contact every time you go out on a recon patrol, you suck at what you're doing and you gotta be better, you know? You can't hear anything in a real fight, absolutely. In the short term, you're fucking banging out and be tough, right? If the fight seems like it's going to go all night, you might want to protect its nuance there. I mean, after a while, your hearing's going to normalize anyway to what's going on. You know, it's going to be muffled, but you can still hear. Unless something really egregious happens, like a massive explosion right next to your head, you know, whatever. I mean, you could go deaf permanently in very short order, but that's not the case with firearms. Ear Pro for 12 hours laying down watching driveway sucks. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be wearing them. It just sucks in general. Absolutely. Bump helmet, anyhow. Yeah. No ballistic protection. Doesn't matter. You may as well be comfortable. Wear a boonie, a patrol cap, whatever. Yeah. The only job is you're allowed to complain about it. I mean, that's the grunt way, right? You got to gripe. Don't cause damage. Long duration loud noises as your team medic. Oh, I know. Doesn't matter. Is what it is. Foamies in your boonie on your ball cap. Yeah, foamies, and again, foamies are fine. But again, do people train to have the wherewithal for proper situational awareness in a 360-degree firefight? A lot of them are going to have tunnel vision and be focused on just a couple of spots of where they're shooting, trying to listen for instruction in the cacophony of fire going on. A lot of people aren't even going to look around for hand signals, you know. So leadership needs to go around to everybody, knock them upside the head and be like, hey, stop firing, you know, cease fire, or hey, shift fire, whatever it is, you know. But again, people don't train that. People aren't training a lot of stuff, you know. And I had made a video not that long ago talking about mental conditioning and stuff. You know, civilians are not doing training that's conducive for proper combat mental conditioning. You know, we go through a lot of that in the military and in contracting. A lot of stress testing. Okay, the stress testing is not there in the civilian sector. You know, and a lot of people would not be able to handle it. Unfortunately, it's just a matter of things. I talked about it in that video. Everyone can go watch that video. It's almost as if recon is a lot like whitetail hunting. Bingo. Hunting is very useful. Is very useful to learn some of those skills. But a lot of time hunters are still fairly loud. It depends on the person, depends on what they're doing and all that. A lot of hunters are still pretty loud. You hear a lot of you know, twig snapping and you know things like that. They don't do the when you're having to move slow, and we're talking you know, Vietnam LRP recon slow, where you're moving 400 meters in a day through triple canopy jungle. You know, the foot roll step. You're stopping every 10 meters to do a sills halt. You know, like that kind of slow, and then more of your typical slow to standard movement. Still intentional, still cautious. You know, but you're moving a little bit quicker. You know, it just depends on where you are, what your environment is, what you're doing, like all that stuff. But yes, absolutely. Hunting in a lot of ways has applicability to recon tactics. Again, there's some things that aren't being done that are important for recon tactics, but I digress. It's a good point, Practical Rifleman. I appreciate it. Gunfights can last a while. People don't realize you can put some ears on to be comfy. You can. It depends. I mean, sustained firefights. Again, it depends on what the goals are, and it depends on what the environment and the tempo is, and things like that. If there's a lot of shoot and scoot, the firefights aren't going to last very long. You may end up getting an initial contact in an RTC and all that, and then whoever ambushed you or engaged or whatever, they may break contact, and you're just going to be stuck there for X amount of hours. Or in the recon and Minuteman type thing, you're gonna engage to do that reactive contact and fire a maneuver, or you're gonna wait for a lull and get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. It's one of the two, unless you're pinned down, which again you done fucked up and you put yourself in a bad position then. But that's another issue, an additional issue anyway. Everyone is going to freeze. Just how quickly can you snap out of it? Yep. Fight, flight, freeze, and fun. 4 Fs. Have you trained and have you conditioned to be able to react to that? And I alluded to it in that video that I was talking about. Like, hey, there's some training that you can do, but you have to do it safely. But, you can't put it on YouTube. But I mean, a couple of guys have administrative results and stuff. Like, we're going to go down range, get behind this berm where we're safe, and fucking shoot at us. Shoot over our heads and stuff. I want to hear what it sounds like. I want to hear the report, like all that. Like, people don't do that. Civilians do not do that. You don't go through that kind of training. You do in the military, you do in contracting and stuff. There's an old video. It's called, I think it's a PMC stress test or contractor stress test. It's a dude doing push-ups. He's got a cadre based South African guy next to him with an AK. He's popping off rounds right in the ground next to him. This guy's got to do push-ups. He's kind of kicking his arms out from under him. It's a stress inoculation. And then get up, you got to clear your rifle, get it good to go, get a couple shots off, move, do it again. It's a stress inoculation training. It's good training, but it's purely for stress inoculation to get mental conditioning and stress training in. Again, civilians don't do that stuff. You're gonna be they can be athletic and you might not have time. Shit's wild. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Down 50% hearing in your left ear is what it is, More hit and run type stuff. Well, even that, again, hit and run. What is your mission planning looking like for conducting an operation like that, for ambushes and stuff, or a raid, whatever it is? It's going to take a lot of planning and a lot of logistics, reconnaissance stuff. It's a different mission. It's a different mission planning set, but it's also in that general regional patrolling application sense too. You're trying to avoid detection, but you're also trying to detect any adversarial forces, right? That's the primary in the forefront that everybody should be thinking about when they don't, because you have all of these talk boxes on YouTube and other places that don't have experience, or again, a lot of people have different views about things, but depending on where you are, what the situation overall is, and everything else, like the majority of that should be the focus is the Minuteman recon. Conducting raids and ambushes are very dangerous, obviously. You need to have a lot of mission planning. You need to have a sound group of people who are going to be able to perform and succeed in an operation, conducting an operation like that. Blackout down, Nelson goes deaf. I don't know what his deal is. I mean, the saw is loud. It's not that loud. His hearing came back, actually. As far as I remember from an interview, like he got tinnitus after, obviously, but like his hearing came back. He was only gone for a little bit. Long firefights are typically in defensive of a location or to hold enemy advancement. Yeah, but again, a lot of context that isn't there because the situation has not been defined. Until it's happened. Myriad of different situations. Same with the threat itself, who the adversary is, because the way that they may do things and conduct in their tactics and stuff is going to be different from the way somebody else is going to do it. And then what's the adaptation? What's the evolution of those tactics? It really depends. Long firefights, defensive firefight, yeah. When you are Alamoed out, at your homestead or your PB or whatever, yeah, that can be a sustained firefight. It could be. But again, the enemy, if that is an organized and planned, coordinated assault, a raid, fire maneuver. So you need to understand they're going to be firing and maneuvering. So you're going to have to adapt and adjust your fire and maneuver to what extent the maneuver is within a defensive perimeter to be able to counter that. And again, if they break contact and fuck off, then it's over. Like until whatever, the next time or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that people don't understand. Hearing is always secondary to staying alive. Exactly. So not to randomly hype, but I worked out a calendar for Life Fighters Anonymous today. We have 4 dates set for 2025. Oh, cool. We are doing 2-night-long events in order to provide value to people from further away. That's good stuff. Yeah, practical rifleman tactical response does some interesting training for stress. Yeah. And again, James, he came from a background of understanding and experience. With the contracting stuff and being a cop before that too, but the contractor stuff. I mean, he was, the Edinburgh International ambush incident. That's the videos are still out there. A well-known incident that he was on that team and stuff. I mean, that's a prime example. What do you do? What is going to happen? What do you do when all of a sudden you're in a thin-skinned vehicle and rounds are ripping through your vehicle, chewing people up? And you got to bail the fuck out the other way and then try and orient and figure out what's going on, who's where, and start laying the hate, right? And it happens like that. The video is out there. You can watch it. It happens like that, Absolutely. The technical response, I think they just call it the high risk operator or high risk contractor course or whatever it is. It's a prep course that they offer for getting into the contracting game. It's a good course. There are other courses like from Sec 4 International. They're down in Arizona. Highly recommend them too. Excellent programs that they have. ESI has some okay programs too. A lot of people go through ESI when they're in Colorado. Their stuff is okay too. There's also CRI out in Vegas. That's a bunch of like ex-Israeli guys. There's some American guys for cadre in the ranks too. They have a contractor course as well. And then there's a couple others out there, but other than those, like the rest of them, it's basically training through security companies as a new hire or whatever. A lot of those aren't offered to the public. There was BSR out in Virginia. I believe it's called Summit. They mostly focus on driving stuff now, but they still have some ranges for training courses and stuff too. Worth checking out. Spill the tea, Life Fighters. Whether you're going to have to take a vacation day like the rest of us. Dude, I haven't had a proper vacation since 2012. Yeah, it's been 12 years. I've not had like a vacation in that long. Set up very nice. I think to really get everyone in. Cool. Goal is to host open mat like jiu-jitsu, but for Life Fighters. Ah, cool. Yeah, exactly, Rebel Spirit. Yeah, when you work in the security industry, you don't get vacation. You work holidays, you work birthdays, you work everything, Especially with a lot of the industry right now is understaffed and underpaid, depending on what you're doing. Depends the contract, depends who you're working for, where you're at, all that stuff. But yeah, you ain't getting time off. That's why I like working where I do now, because I do get more time to be able to do that kind of thing if I had the money for it, you know. Nobody trying to make money off training is number one. It's fine, but some dudes are happy with their training and just need training at the most fair price. Yeah, if it's qualitative training, if it's quality training, because there's a lot of training out there that is not worth the money that some are charging for it. Others, the prices are do reflect the type of training, and if it's certifying training and stuff as well, that reflects in the price. Sec4 International, ESI, CRI, those training companies, they all take the GI Bill and stuff too. And what was Chapter 31 of vocational rehabilitation reemployment education program that the VA offers. It's basically a GI Bill thing. In your opinion, yeah, most training does suck. Again, depends on who. The established training companies, the ones I listed, are good, fantastic training companies. But the price reflects it. Again, they've got massive facilities, they've got excellent instructors, they're providing food, room and board, ammunition, and everything. So the price reflects that. A lot of that flat range training where a dude's coming out and he's charging $450 a day for 6 hours, 8 hours of shooting, from all these people, from a group of 20 people, that's bank, but you're just doing flat range drills, right? That's not conducive to what that price reflects. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Life Fighters. I did have a program I was working on. It's on the back burner. It's on the shelf right now, called ULFR, ULFR. And it's kind of a warrior skills program out in the woods doing training. There is a little bit of, PowerPoint, whiteboard, whatever too, but it's mostly out in the field training, doing stuff, learning different techniques, tactics, your basic warrior skill stuff. Similar to like One Shepherd and all that, and what you're doing. So, but it's been on the back burner for a couple of years now. James had no problems getting students used to bullets moving both ways. Yeah, exactly. And that's when the training works. Yeah, absolutely. No, I like his programs. Rest in peace, James. Seems like Technical Response is keeping up with it pretty good with the curriculum and stuff with the people that they have, doing it now. But it's not quite the same now that he's gone, unfortunately. But it's still qualitative training. And again, the other companies I mentioned too, aside from Technical Response, they do good stuff. It is good training. Sarcastic as you are, having an educational background, this is my expertise. This isn't too hard. Doesn't need to be gate kept. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I've got an experience and an education background. I've got a degree. I've got an advanced degree in criminal justice and stuff. Because that pertains to law enforcement and security work and all that stuff. So like I understand all the nuances of that too. But then, 3.5 years in the Army and 17 years as a security contractor in a variety of applications. It's like, to include some firearm instruction as well. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of knowledge and information out there. People should share it. They absolutely should. Love good training. Yes, absolutely. Well said. And that's good. There needs to be more good instructors, people sharing the craft and all that out there. But at the same time, what one guy doesn't know, he doesn't know. Same for another dude. But if that dude knows what that guy doesn't know, and that guy doesn't know what that guy knows, right? Get them together. Share the craft. Everybody needs, especially in a Minuteman application, apart from reconnaissance heavy reliance, everyone needs to be like an ODA. Everybody needs to be able to do each other's jobs and then bring other skills to the table too. Who's apart from your guys that are good with comms and medical and your guys that are excellent shooters and your trackers and stuff, who's good with the vehicles, who's good with helping to build new things for long-term sustainment. Everybody's going to have to do manual labor, right? You're going to have to build your bunkers. You're going to have to, dig trenches. You're going to have to, build a, a smoking booth for drying all the meat that you get and the fish that you get, whatever it is. Like that's what I'm saying. People got to go back and forth to source water. Who's gonna be on cooking duty? Is it rotational? Like all that stuff. I've made a template with numbers, with amounts of people, and I'll share it with some of you guys in here about the ideal numbers based on what your group size is. Like who's going to be doing what? Who's good at what? What that breakdown looks like for combat and protection, medical, logistics, which is huge, intelligence and communications, and your command and control structure and all that, and like blah, 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 But guess what? If it's a small group of people, everybody's got to fucking do everything, right? So. It sucks how hard it is to get, how expensive. Yeah, and that's the thing. Price is always going to be an issue when it is really good training, and especially at a top of the line facility and stuff. But again, a lot of stuff is included. The room and board and all that, and food and all that. Like a lot of the time, that's included in that training. But at a lot of those institutions, and it's worth it. But it is not cheap. If somebody's not using an education benefit or something to help pay for it, it's not cheap. You're gonna need some money to pay for those programs, but they're worth it. But on the flip side, when you've got people that are passionate about it, want people to get together in a localized sense or whatever, and just share the craft with each other, that goes just as far of a way, as going to one of the established good training institutions. There's value in that, when you've got somebody who's bang up that can do freaking surgery in the back of a van, and then you've got guys over here that have 15 years of gunfighting experience and recon experience or whatever. Like, get them together. Everybody needs to learn everything. Hell, build an MG position. Yeah. The Light Fighter Studies group. Yeah, I've seen that video. Yeah, I mean, I met Tyler and those guys. The few guys that went to the Winter Forge the year I went there. Tyler's a great guy. He's very academic, And then the other guy that was like the big nods nerd guy, I forget his name, glasses, whatever. But yeah, I met some of those guys. Yeah, because they were the op 4 for Winter Forge the year I was there. Oh yeah, yeah, Friday Reverend. Did you hear that GWAT guys are trash? Yeah. I don't know what's going through some people's heads, but all the doctrine that you have currently today in the military and otherwise, guess where that comes from? the evolved advanced doctrine, it comes from the fucking GWAT. And we were in Solder City. We were in Solder City. We had dudes in Ramadi, dudes in Fallujah, clearing buildings with 20-inch M16 A4s, A3s, and stuff, and got the job done. And then as more of the soft techniques trickled down into the infantry ranks, things evolved a little bit. But guess what? All of that development happened from 2001 to 2012 in large. Anything after that, apart from the technology advancements, a lot of that is from what we were doing and what we've been doing, right? So yeah, I don't know what some people are not getting through their thick skulls, but it's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Killed Jackson didn't attempt to do anything with it and hate him. His 12K subs from a single video. Oh, that sucks, man. He's been busy with other stuff though. We're friends on LinkedIn. We're connected on LinkedIn. I've been seeing the stuff that he's been doing, and he's a very busy boy. So hopefully he gets back to it at some point in the future. Civs can't afford and don't need top of the line training. Yeah, again, it depends on what the application is and what they really want. And again, some of that training isn't afforded to civilians. Some are. It depends what you're doing. If you're not intending on going into that line of work in like the private sector and stuff, like there's no reason to necessarily go to those institutions. While it's great training, there's no reason to do it then. So then that means you have to go to other organizations, whether it's One Shepherd or what you're doing or what some other people are doing, developing American, Minuteman recon rifleman programs, whatever it is, and again, getting together and sharing the craft. That's the important thing. I'm glad you weren't recording. Skull sick boy. His best friend-ish. Practical Rifleman Jax, Tyler Jackson, part of the Light Fighter Studies group. They work a lot alongside One Shepherd and SNS Training Solutions, and Light Fighters Anonymous is kind of in that group of dudes. You didn't reply to your text today? Dude, that sucks. One of the programs doing the craft, right? Yep. It just is what it is, man. It is what it is. Damn. You guys got me talking. It's already an hour and a half in. Got a half an hour left, and I'm calling it to go make some din. 30 minutes left. Hey, Technical Muffin Top. What's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Any other topics? Any other questions? Whatever you got, fire away. No, not dropping a crazy rant, Muffin Top. We were just on the topic, talking for a good minute about training, deficiencies in training for civilians, what they don't know, and applicability of the right training for civilians, for Minutemen and things like that, like all that kind of stuff. You're gonna have to go back and watch this video because it definitely went into the weeds a little bit, but in a good way. Anyone else new, welcome. Say hey in the chat. Bring up topics of discussion, ask a question, whatever. There's really nothing off the table. Oh, well, had to rake leaves and smoke burgers. Ooh, nice. I think I'm probably going to do some jalapeno cheddar sausages here in a little bit. Sounds good. Sounds like it's going to hit the spot with some beans, some baked beans. One train leaves New York heading south at 100 miles per hour. A train leaves Omaha heading east at 220 miles per hour. Why don't the lefties recognize taxation as theft? Right? God damn it. Ooh, pork tenderloin. Yeah, I don't shop at Costco. They don't have a lot of options for, unfortunately, for the dietary needs that I have for stuff. So, fuck them. Plus, I'm not going to pay for a membership. It's just not my bag. We're a really good employee-owned grocery chain here called Woodman's, and they have a lot of good stuff that I like. So, what's first supply building are you hitting ship ops off? None, because I won't have to. They're going to get hit and picked clean by all of the people that aren't prepared, right? Think about this. Okay, so grocery stores, say you're in a city of 350,000 people. Let's just say 500,000. Let's say you're in a city of 500,000 people. You've got 6 Walmarts and 12 mixed chains of grocery stores dotted around the city. How long do you think it's going to be until those are picked completely clean? When something happens, there's no more supply coming in. Like, how long do you think it'll take? It's only going to take 3 days. Most grocery stores only have a supply about 48 to 72 hours. Everything will be gone. Besides maybe a couple of things that like people don't normally eat or want to eat, whatever, which like I'm a kippers guy, love my kippers. I got no problem eating sardines and all that stuff. But that stuff's fine. But everything's going to be picked clean, once it happens in a span of about 3 days. There won't be anything to hit. All the Walgreens are going to be burned down. Everything's going to be picked clean. Same with Walmart. Same with every grocery store. Because of how many people in, again, the hypothetical 500,000 population density city, there's so many grocery stores, and even then, there's not enough grocery stores at any given time in any major metropolitan area to supply the entire city's population for a week. There's not enough there. So it's all going to be gone. So all the people that aren't prepared, that's what's going to happen. They're either going to die or they're going to be raiding all that stuff. And then what do you do then? Nothing you can do. People are going to be, hit out until all the stuff that they raided from all those places are gone. And then what are they going to do? Again, they're either going to die or they're going to start attacking other people that do have supplies, or whatever, So people that are savvy, even with urban types, there are people that fish and hunt and things like that. I live in a city. I fish and hunt and everything, but a lot of people don't have the planning that I do, or the network that I do, or whatever, to move to another place, because it doesn't matter especially if it's a nationwide thing. It doesn't matter where you go; everything's going to be gone, So what do you do then? A lot of people are going to die. So, I was saying membership seems funky. Oh, for Costco. Yeah, but I've gotten paid for itself every year. Love the place as a prepper. Do about 50% of your grocery shopping. No, that's awesome. I know. Costco's great for what it is. But again, they don't have a lot of gluten-free options. Unfortunately, I am not by choice. I'm completely gluten intolerant. Toxic exposure from the military. So there's no point in me getting membership to shop there because I don't have shit that I need. So, but no, that's all. Yeah, Costco's good though. Like they don't even have like their $1.50 glizzies. They don't even have a gluten-free bun option for them. So there's no point in me going there for those because I can't eat them. Yeah, Predator rifleman. Yeah, 36 hours. In some places, yeah, it will be that quick. It will be that quick. Day and a half. 2 days at most. Most places, so yeah, 3 days. About 3 days, everything's gone. Pick clean. Places will be burned down. Whatever. It depends on what could happen, what the situation could be. Blah 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 blah. All the exigencies, all that stuff, all the time. Just all that shit. It just is what it is. So if you're not prepared, I mean, and it's not like you have to go off the wall and have, while it would be nice to have, 3 years of supplies stocked up, the reality is most people don't even have 2 weeks of supplies stocked up. I've got several months worth here, and I'm in an apartment, but I'm able to manage that, and then I've got resources, supplies, and network of people and everything with plans in place and all that. Multiple plans, pace, for various types of situations. Most people don't have that. So, there's going to be a lot of bodies in the streets and dead in their homes, unfortunately. Rebate paid. Costco. Membership, extra every year. Spend $5K a year. Oh, wow. Everything will be fucky. But this whole conversation is a seriously long one. How does it get to that point? What's it look like beforehand? That's a great question. and everybody envisions and has, grand ideas of different scenarios and different ways it can happen and things like that. It's like it really depends. I mean, rioting, we've seen that in recent times. Um, I mean, in Minneapolis, they were burning down Walgreens. They were looting them, but then they were just burning them down. If it's mass rioting, and to the point where it can't be controlled even by law enforcement and the National Guard, they're going to burn a lot more stuff down than what was burned down before. I mean, we saw it back in, what was it, the 90s, at the Rodney King riots or the Compton riots, or, like entire portions of cities can be burned to the ground in less than 24 hours. So, but it just depends on what the situation is. That is one example, one of many. It just depends. Just depends. Oh, you burned a tenderloin? No. I'm glad it's still great though. Tenderloin is delicious. Sourdough bread? Nope, can't eat it. It's not gluten free. Unless you get specific flours to try and make a type of sourdough bread that doesn't have any gluten in it. So I have to use rice flour, arrowroot powder, cassava or tapioca cassava root powder, cornstarch, things like that. Like cannot use wheat, barley, rye, any of that stuff. Anything with gluten, can't do it. Even certain oats cannot do. Yeah, it sucks. It is what it is. It was what I would assume was the anthrax jab back in the GWAT times when they were still actively administering that to a lot of people, and a lot of people got sick and have permanent damage from it. So, I believe it's pesticides. That might contribute to part of it for the general public. That maybe, but I don't know. Some people are just, apart from people that have like celiac disease or whatever. I don't have celiac disease. It's a non-celiac related total gluten intolerance because of toxic exposure injury. So, occupational hazard exposure injury, whatever you want to call it. I was injected with something by the military. It put me in the hospital, and I've had problems ever since. 3 years just wells, especially shit I ate. Well, yeah, it's going to be a lot of dry goods. When they announced COVID closures and news, everybody panicked and emptied the shelves. Yeah, exactly. Another prime example. It doesn't even have to be a kinetic, high risk thing. It can be something like that, and people lose their goddamn minds. Bacon don't last that long. Nope, not unless you cure it. Cure it, dry it, and store it. Salt pack it. Really meant there anything bigger ticket items that you may try to snag. Bigger ticket items, yeah, maybe a little bit more booze and cigarettes. Barter tool stuff, apart from, hey, I like that stuff. Things like that. Maybe like some more chocolate, stuff like that, maybe. But again, I pre-plan and I buy a lot of stuff like that beforehand. Chocolate keeps for a very long time too, which is awesome. So to have the ditch. If I can hype one more time, we are going to be hosting events for people like us. I would like to come Life Fighter. So Life Fighters Anonymous has got a Life Fighter program that he's got going on. I would like to come out at some point. That would be cool. It's about a 9-hour drive for me to get to you, where you're at. So, it'll be a hump, but I'll figure it out at some point. That would be cool. I would like to meet up. We'll have to do a live stream too at some point soon, whether it's Wiretight has us on or whatever. But yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, you can DM me. DM me stuff to look over. That's fine. Yeah, I'll look at it later. I got about 15 minutes left in my live stream here, and I'm calling it to go eat supper myself. So, but I'll look at it later for sure. I'll give you some feedback. Techno Muffin Top, how do you feel about paintballs and used oil and sand for vehicles? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't get the hint. You'll have to tell me later. I don't know. Rebel Spirit, your wife is gluten free. Okay. However, is American thing mostly. Have you tried wheat from across the ocean? So one of the brands I get is Dr. Shar, and that's made in Europe. That's gluten free stuff. But I have heard that some of the European made and sourced stuff is better. But again, I have total intolerance. It's the amounts parts per million of gluten is so small that I would be able to be exposed to now. Like, no, I just can't do it. Just don't do it. For other people, it may be better, especially for those like celiac and things like that. Like, I'm sure it'd be fine for them to some degree. Send you a link, see if it works. Yeah, I'll check it out. Booze and Six, 4 fighter credit. Dude, what can I say? Come on. Practical Rifleman, thanks for dropping by, dude. Appreciate you, man. Good talk, good points. You brought up some good stuff. Hopefully some of this gives people ideas for making some videos too, stuff that we've been talking about here, because I like to think I'm pretty grounded in reality with this kind of stuff. Keeping on topic here. Find out what you like when you might die later. I mean, it depends, man. Now, because like I get serious abdominal pain and bloating and vomiting blood and stuff. It's not fun, so I gotta stay away from it. Life Fighters tease. Hey, Life Fighters, respond to Rebel Spirit's email. Come on. You know what it means? Talking about vehicle sensor systems. Oh, yeah. Depends on what the sensor is. For some of them, it's not going to matter because they're still going to work. Some may not, but whatever. Wrangler Star. That's a name I've not heard in a while. I mean, Molotovs. That's all you need. Like the rich guy. Wait, what? What email? I don't know. You two talk about it between yourselves. I was just reading off some of the chat conveying the message. I think there is a way to network a logistical team while still remaining decentralized as a Miniman. It depends. It depends on what technology and resources are still accessible and available to use. It all depends, Again, with radios and stuff, me personally, because our team, once the initial primers are sent out, and everybody's into their E&E to rendezvous and as in line with our pace plans, once we're all together, we're not going to be using the radio much. Little bit of communication between anybody that's going out for recon patrol and whatever and the home base. That's about it. It's not going to be used otherwise, really. We've got various things like your wind up emergency NOA radios and things like that, so you'd be able to still be able to hear radio transmissions and stuff from broadcasts like that. And that's good. Everyone should have one just for disaster planning. I mean, here we get blizzards. We do get tornadoes here sometimes. I mean, you guys down there, you're in freaking tornado alley. You get tornadoes, like have those kinds of things, emergency weather radio and stuff. Like basic stuff like that is actually really good because you can still get broadcast updates from that. Aside from radios that you have, and ways to keep charge and logistical support for your radio systems and communications. You have a number of things at your disposal. Other than the next new shiny thing that everybody's talking about on YouTube or whatever. There's a lot of other things that are really good to still have that are tried and true and they've been used for a long time. Have a plan, use smoke signals. Hey, if it works, it works. What are you, a freaking weatherman? Live Fighter, Wiretime Series, visit your website, send you an email. Oh, okay. I mean, that's absurd. Just figure out a modern balance. I mean, there's many, as the adage goes, many ways to skin a cat, right? So why not have a couple of ways to be able to skin said cat at your disposal at any given time, right? Like a radio, we best use a comms plan only, like every 6 hours we check in. Yeah, it depends. And you should rotate. You should break up the stage time. Every couple of hours, depending on what you're doing and when, why you need to transmit or whatever. Okay. First time, 07:15. The next day, 08:12. Whatever. Break it up. Irregular timing pattern. Things like that is also good to implement into your communications usage, right? As much as limited usage. That's something else people don't think about. If you're on a regular schedule of broadcast every time, every day, no, you can be asking for problems with that. Again, depends on the situation and blah 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 blah. All that stuff. All of the myriad of exigent things floating up in the clouds here. So a lot of dependent things. A lot of exigent things dependent on a range of different what ifs. I mean, I've been in several countries that are completely destabilized. But to that point, even a completely destabilized country like Iraq during the GWAT, cell phones still worked. Satellite phones worked. Like all that, and then we had our radio communications and everything. There was still power to some extent. While intermittent, there was still power from time to time. You go to a disaster zone. I've been to Puerto Rico before for a disaster after a hurricane. A lot of people had generators, which was good. Power was intermittent. From what supply was coming from the energy plant still and everything. Communications still fairly accessible. It just depends on what the situation is. In contrast, you saw what happened in North Carolina recently. Communications was much more severely affected because a lot of the relay and transmit towers were destroyed. So it really depends. And then complete, entire communities were cut off and everything else. And for as much reliance as people in that area tout, there was a lot of people that weren't prepared, unfortunately. Or they lost their preps because of the conditions, because of the flooding and everything, which is catastrophic. Completely changed the landscape, and people that had root cellars full of 2 years worth of goods, it got washed away. And that's another exigent planning thing, which is why having caches isn't a bad idea. And with pace planning, your concentric layers of fallbacks, as applicable, and having resources available there in these stagings outward, primary, alternate or secondary, contingent, or tertiary, and then emergency or exigent. So if you don't have 4, you should at least have 3, but you should have 4. If you don't have even that, like, that's a problem. Life Fighters Anonymous. Okay, boys, gotta go eat. Go eat, dude. Thanks for being here and talking. Appreciate you. Some good talks. 24 to 25 schedule. Yeah, I look forward to seeing your videos on that, man. Make it worthwhile to attend for Cool Kids. Cool Kids Club. Woo! Woohoo! Wee! Wee! 5 people in here. Cool. Anyone else here? Say hey. Ask a question in chat. I got about 7 minutes left. 6 minutes left in the live stream here. I'll answer them real quick. I'm kind of firing off rapid fire here. So anything you got, lay it out. Swish, 2 points. Hey, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Rebel Spirit, who's going to be the main threat? People or authorities? Dude, it depends on the situation. It depends on what it is. And it depends on how good your local authorities are. There's a lot of areas that, like, the sheriffs and those people are awesome, and they're gonna help people. Other places, it could be bad. But again, it just depends on what it is. most common things, we're going to, natural disasters, first and foremost. They happen all the time. And then you got man-made disasters alongside that too. Major chemical spills, industrial accidents, that kind of stuff that affect large areas. And then social climate situations, rioting and otherwise. Other government overreach, tyranny effects. And then you've got other aspects from that, foreign influence, terrorism, whatever it is. There's a myriad of things, we keep bringing it up. So it just depends. Matthew Bartholomew, thanks for tuning in. Do you think Trump will abolish the ATF? I don't know about abolish, but heavily downsize and restrict in their capabilities. ATF should be a convenience store, right? But the alcohol, tobacco aspect of it, I think that portion of it should be moved into customs enforcement, because a lot of that is regulation to make sure that knockoff stuff that is going to harm people isn't coming into the country. Things like that. That's a big part of what that they do on that side. The whole taxation bit with the ATF, bullshit. Get rid of that. No taxes from that. They're not the IRS. They're not the Treasury Department. Whatever. Shouldn't be a thing. As far as the firearm stuff goes, repeal the NFA and GCA, which I hope they do, or make happen. And then from there, it's just again making sure that there isn't sabotaged ammunition coming into the country. Things like that. That's the stuff that the ATF alongside customs should be doing. All this other stuff, no, it's absolute infringement on the Constitution and on the people, and should not be a thing. So downsize in large, definitely. Brandon Herrera for ATF director. Yeah, I've seen that floating around. And then a veteran with a sign, Zach Bell. Somebody brought him up for director of the Department of Veterans Affairs, which might not be bad. I actually left a comment on one of his shorts videos earlier because he brought it up that somebody had voted for him for that on whatever RFK is doing. He might be a good fit along with a couple of other people if they work together. I think they would be really good. So Swish cigarettes, guns, and beer. Kick ass. Hell yeah, bro. I am drinking a Two Brothers Prairie Path Golden Ale. It's not much of an ale. It's more of a lager. Gluten-free beer. It's okay. I'm a bit of a beer snob. I like strong beers. Normally, I go for a Belgian-style triple. Unfortunately, the brand that I like that is gluten-free, they were not in stock at the store, so I had to settle for this little 5% piss water. Whatever. Cheers. ATF, yeah. ATF should be a convenience store, though. Absolutely. I mean, why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be? That is everything freedom that America stands for, right? Like, hell yeah, I'm going to go buy a PTR 91 over there. I'm going to come over here, get a bottle of mead and a sixer of some Belgian Tripels, and I'm going to go get my carton of smokes. One-stop shop, baby. Come on. Come on. What's not to love about that? Yeah. Cheers, Switch. Thanks for tuning in real quick, man. Yeah, I'll catch you later. We'll talk soon, man. Okay, good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. It's real. And with that, 1 minute left or so. If I go a couple over, it's whatever. But I got to go make supper here myself here soon. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do some jalapeno cheddar sausages. Delicious. But yeah, I guess that'll about round it off for this one. Kind of stayed on track on this one, at least within a certain topic bracket, which is cool. I appreciate everyone who tuned in and asked great questions and brought up good topics of discussion. Hopefully there's some valuable stuff here, so share it around. Hopefully people will go back and watch this because we talked about a lot. But yeah, that'll about round it off here. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in that did tune in. Thank you for all the great questions and helping to sustain a good tempo of discussion. That was great. I appreciate it. Yeah, good group of people here. So it's always good. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of you. And with that, metal up. Out.